This is what was laying on my mind tonight. And it concerns, people that legitimately want to be in relationships or to get into relationships. And it doesn't matter what race. Lay down. It doesn't matter what race or racial choice you make. The thing I want to say is that when you put out a lot of negativity and you group a lot of people together to put out negativity about, women or what have you, mainly because a lot of women are just on here on YouTube especially, they just want to mind their own business. They don't really care about things. Now they are paying a lot of men back for the things they do, but this is what the repercussion is. So I want to tell you what the repercussion is. So these men's groups, right? They've been bad mouthing women for, now that I know, at least 10 years at the least, okay? YouTube has been in effect, I think, since 2007. I came on in 2008. And shortly after is when I noticed that there was a lot of women bashing content on YouTube. Now, I've heard that YouTube was meant initially to be a social, um, a social kind of project, dating app initially, but it turned into something different. And the negativity that is on YouTube and that has been spewed out, and I don't know why YouTube, with all their so-called rules and regulations, has allowed a lot of this stuff to, this harassment, this derogatory talk. I've even heard male channels talking about murdering women, and that's on the black sector, white sector, and what have you. I've heard them talk about things like that, about putting women to death and executing them and all that stuff. And however, YouTube was supposed to be a site that prevented that, right? It was initially supposed to be a dating site. But I don't know if these men realize, as much as they talk so foul, and I have noticed that a lot of the topics is about women, like women's looks, what they're looking for in a woman, and it's mainly superficial. Let's just put it there. Everything they ask for or what they are looking for in women is very superficial. However, I don't know this if black men know this, okay? Because the bad mouthing that they've done towards black women has gotten attention from a lot of different races of women. So this little sector that they claim this is has seeped out beyond YouTube. It has seeped out into mainstream media. And a lot of women are realizing that these men aren't worth a shit. They're not worth a shit. And unfortunately, they're not knowing the difference between the good black man or the dysfunctional one at this point. So even the good black man is going to have a hard time dating within his race and outside of his race, because women are shutting it down. They don't want any part of it. And unfortunately, the good guys are going to reap that effect because of all the dysfunctional, defective men on YouTube and social media. They're gonna have the consequences from it. Unfortunately, the consequences are gonna be that there's not gonna be women that want to date them. So even if these black men don't want to date black women, they're gonna go to other races of women, and those other races of women at this point are shutting them down. They're shutting them down. They don't even want to carry on conversations with them. They don't want anything to do with them. Do you guys really see what you're doing with the energy that you're putting out into the universe, right? That you started off with black women and thought you were teaching black women a lesson by dating out, and then all the talk you talk, and it's not even just about black women, but you talk about other races of women is very derogatory. So even though you might have people from the outside looking into this bubble, which is YouTube, they're seeing the dysfunction. They're seeing the conversations. And these women are literally shutting you dudes down. They want to shut you down. But you guys can't see this. You cannot see this. You cannot see the forest for the trees, and can't see that the eventuality is that you won't have anybody to date, because a lot of these men are single. They're single. And they're looking, because they're always talking about women. So they are looking. But by what you've put out, the energy you've put out into the universe, the speech, the talk, the chaotic energy, it's going to come back at you like a boomerang. These women are not going to want anything to do with you, no matter what race they are. And you're fucking it up for real, for the good man, the good black man, or the good white man, or whatever. You're fucking it up for the men who actually legitimately want to have relationships. They want to be married eventually. You know, they want to start families. But you dudes are really fucking it up for those men. Because at this point, women don't know whether they're good or not. And they see the fakeness, the turmoil, the negativity, the abuse, the abusive talk, the abusive nature. And when I say I'm abusive, I'm talking about when you're wishing rape, you're wishing murder, or you're wishing, talking about beating women, you talk about just verbally abusing and things like that. You're making it worse for any man who's legit or worth his salt to eventually be able to be married and have families. You're fucking it up for all of them. You're putting that energy out there, and that energy is going to... I mean, I know the social structure, so I know what the powers that be are trying to do, so they allow it. That's why YouTube is allowing all this abuse, because they really don't want people to legitimately be in long-term relationships, creating good families, creating good environments to raise children, and they don't want that. They don't want that type of family structure, because eventually the system wants to break down. It's going to break down, and the first way you break the system down is by breaking down families, no matter what racially ambiguous or dynamic family that you're creating. The system doesn't want that. It doesn't want whole families, because whole families means whole communities. And if you're really trying to break a system down, or a government down, or communities down, you don't want family structures. So that's the first to go, is the family structure. But you guys you're not awake. You're not awake. You don't see it. And those that are wishing havoc on that there is a breakdown in the system, don't realize that you will be just as affected by any woman that is affected. Because when that breakdown happens, all jobs break down, and then the financial flow breaks down. So these are dudes that they have no foresight. I'm sorry, there's no foresight. They repeat like little parrots what they hear, and they don't really think about what it is they're asking for, or what they see. So now what's happening is that women are they don't want to be in relationships because it's not conducive to them. It's not beneficial to them. So they're putting a hard no on that. Anyways, that's what was on my mind tonight.